So let's talk about my new favorite topic, which is the Society of the Temple. Christopher, what is the Society of the Temple?
The Society of the Temple is stage two of my master plan for the temple. Like everything in the temple, we do things in threes. So the first stage was what we technically call in our bylaws the ministerial church. So it's the 12 zodiac signs, they're 12 ministries. And it really bases in our vision of the religion of witchcraft, because it's really about service to the community and creating that kind of structure. And in terms of our three rays, if you've heard that casting, that video, we associate the ministerial church with the red ray and the sovereign, because it's about establishing kind of community in the physical world. The Society of the Temple is stage two. And so stage two is the yellow ray. It's the wisdom and knowledge and cunning aspect of things. It's the science of witchcraft. And it's really the deep occult and mystical lore. I think for myself, sort of like the early classes that I had, and I taught my first two levels of witchcraft to my first batch of students, and they said, hey, what's next? And I was sort of always that student. Once I learned something, I was like, hey, what's next? And so this is what's next. And it was really kind of taking the teachings to a deeper mystical level. And so it's basically, believe it or not, a 9-year program. Although we've had some crazy folks who've done the 9 years within 3 years, which I don't necessarily recommend, but they handled it well. But essentially, it's 3 rays with 3 levels each. And the system is modular. So you can take it as red ray 1, blue ray 1, yellow ray 1, and then red ray 2, blue ray 2, yellow ray 2. And that was ideally how I designed it. But you can also focus on red ray 1, and then red ray 2, and then red ray 3. And each one kind of has 3 levels or 3 tiers of the mystery. So there's the first level, the level 1 of all of them, are very underworld, very folkloric, really rooted in a lot of British folklore, because those are the roots and the legacy I received from my first teachers. And then the second degree is much more about the interpersonal and the community and the mystical, and really gets into the archetypes of the 3 rays, which is the sovereign, the seer, and the sorcerer. And then the third level is really about the most mystical side of kind of withdrawing to just simply mediate that energy, and using some different archetypes and different imagery, like the Fisher King, and using the images of the weaver and using images of the singer, and really kind of getting into the craft side of things, and how for silence and stillness and repetitive motion, how to have vision and how to have those mystical connections and those experiences. So I had this original impetus to want to do this around 2013, 2014, as we really started to integrate the 3 rays material into the temple. But life becomes difficult and it gets hard to get everything done. So we just started it just about 3 years ago, and we're just done the first round of it this year, this November 2022. We will finish the first 3 years of it, where all 9 sessions, all 9 levels of it have been recorded. And we'll use the recordings for future classes. And then I think it's in 2023, I'll start up again live for people who want to do it live and learn better. And it'll probably be online again, although perhaps I'll teach it locally. And eventually we'll get a program of teaching distant teachers. Who knows? Then maybe that will happen at some point, but we're a little bit further away from that. So I've just been super excited about it. It's been my great passion. And I really love to see the results of people going deeper mystically. And so I'm always, looking for what's next, and trying to create deeper culture and deeper context in the view of witchcraft. And this is my contribution to it. So hopefully people enjoy it.
I have to say, I've taken the red ray for all 3 years so that I could be present in the classes as they're being recorded. I enjoy it. Please keep doing it. It's really kind of, as all things do, it's kind of flipped a lot of what I previously would practice kind of on its head, or added. It's really more feels like it's kind of peeled off a layer, and then I'm starting to see some of the mechanics and some of the mystery underneath, which I love. That's my favorite. So I'm really excited to do the blue ray and the yellow ray as well. Did you say you were going to be doing those live again? Because I'm interested in when that's going to happen.
So one of the things we do in the temple is the 3 founders, so myself, Steve Kenson, and Adam Sartwell, we switch which ray we hold for the community each Astara, each spring equinox. And so currently I'm in the red ray this year, 2022, going into 2023. And I'm going to wait and give myself 2 years off. And then when I'm red ray again, I'm going to start up with red ray 1. So whenever that would be, and then I'll go through. I've actually made a commitment. I just sent this to our board of directors so they knew it was happening. But I'm committing to 9 years of teaching it live. So we've got that going on. So I'm excited for that. And anybody who's taken the previous classes in the interim will be welcome to join us live and just audit the classes, for those recordings. So I'm going to make that available to everybody who's a member of the Society of the Temple who's taken that level.
I'm glad you're opening that up for people that have already taken it, because by then I will be like, I'm probably going to miss the rest of the live ones. So, yay. What was I going to say about that? So we'll come back to this, but you mentioned something. You said that everything in the temple happens in threes, and you've told us the first two. So I feel like there is another door. What is behind door number 3?
So door number 3 is, in our definition of witchcraft as science, art, and religion. So if the ministerial church is religion and the Society of the Temple is the science, and I think you said it so beautifully about peeling back the mechanics of the cosmos is really what we're trying to do in those classes, and really mediate cosmic forces and understand their role in our world and our lives. The third level is the art of witchcraft. And so the kind of outer form of it is going to be something called the Fellowship of the Temple. And part of it in the terrestrial world is going to be trying to create programs to support magical artists in our community, whether they be graphic artists, textile artists, musicians, dancers, things like that, and creating that kind of support, but also encouraging them to create things that can be shared with community and create trainings that can be shared with the community based on their art. And the teachings that I have proposed for it, really, if we're kind of climbing the tree of life in our ways, we can sort of look at the ministerial church as the bottom part of the tree, and we can look at the society as the ethical triangle in the middle part of the tree. And then the top of the tree, the supernal part of the tree, is this fellowship, is this art, is this kind of mystical side of art and creation, and kind of tapping into this nonlinear creativity, is going to be focusing on our images of deity. So our images of deity, in their most cosmic sense that we work with in the temple, is the goddess as the weaver and the web, and the god as the singer and the song. So it's going to be a lot about geometric patterns, and the weaving of those patterns, and fate, and the concepts of time, and both linear time and eternal time, and our past, present, future as goddess. And then we're going to be looking at sound and language and song and music. And so those are the rough ideas that I have outlines for that will be, our future fellowship at the time.
So I have to say, I know I keep talking, and I'm going to let Scott talk, I promise. You know me personally, and you know where my practice is centered personally. And I just have to say that you just rang all of my bells. And however you're taking that, that's how it means. So sign me up, and I will help, and let me know what you need, because I want to see that in our community. So I'm going to be quiet now and let Scott talk.
Well, I just want to sing "Ring My Bell," but I can gush about the Society of the Temple, and I personally, so my track within that has been to take all the ones. So I started in blue, and then I went red, and then I moved to yellow, and so it's been a lot of underworld stuff, right? It's been a lot of that material, and I really I'm ready to move up into the next tier of it and to see what that next level is about. But I really want to say that I think that there's a lot of creative space in the Society of the Temple. I think that the practices that are there, that are already within the mystery school, about like, do this thing and where does it take you, and there's a process of discovery there. I think that there's like another level of that really opens up in the Society of the Temple, like the learning and the craft that's there. And so the things that we're engaged in, have done wonders for me. Like I can't keep up sometimes, like with the ideas that start to come through my head. I just keep a journal and I write it all down. But that's me personally, and that's the way that it arrives for me. But it is really, really like great stuff. So you get to start to take it, right, like at Witchcraft 3, yeah, and then you could start to sort of like move into this other level of the temple learning, and it takes, for me, I can only speak for myself, but it really created a different kind of alchemy when it start to add it to the containers of these classes. Blu-ray, the way that the world of the Shining Ones opened up, the way the Red Ray, about personal sovereignty and being connected to the land was very powerful, and now Yellow Ray and working with the spirits. People are talking like that's a very they're all very potent classes, and I'm just very excited for what's next and where that they really go. And I think anybody who's listening to this and and wondering, like, do they take it or do they not take it, or is it interesting to them? It's very interesting, and I know that you said that it references like certain folklores and stuff, but it's also like it's super creative and it's super experimental, in a lot of ways, I think, and it's just awesome. So if you're like, will I learn something? Will I get something out of it? Yes, absolutely. You will absolutely learn something, and you will absolutely get something out of it, even if that, and I hope that it is learning something about yourself and your relationship with the world around you, into your magic and where it can really take you.
I'm going to tag off of that, Scott, because you're right in the. It seemed to me that a lot of the mystery school really brings you on a journey of self, and you have a lot of self exploration, self healing, a journey of community, a lot of that sort of interpersonal, a journey with working with our planet, our solar system, those sorts of things. And our journey of the soul in that way. But I think a lot of the work, at least in my experience of the Society of the Temple, really sort of takes you beyond that. It takes you beyond sort of the limits of, what is the individual soul? What is the interconnected soul, into what are we as, into the structures of reality, and how we interplay, and how, how we're connected, and all of those different things. So yeah, I think it is really, really expansive of everything that we do. And there's a lot of room for personal experimentation. And I think just the connections that I've made have gone beyond, what I even thought was possible. Like, my brain has been opened up, and that's exciting, because I thought my brain was pretty opened up beforehand. So yeah, I would definitely encourage anyone who's curious or interested to continue on. I will say that since they became available to us after I had graduated from Witchcraft 5, I do think that there's a lot of depth to the work that might be missed if you start it in Witchcraft 3, even though you have all of the tools to be able to understand and perform the rituals. But I do think there's a mystery there. So if you're working your way through mystery school, maybe that could be the focus, and then shift over to the society. I feel like you'll have a deeper experience of the society work, and maybe you do it and then you come back and revisit it later. But definitely, if you've graduated through Witchcraft 5, definitely revisit if you've already taken some society classes, because there's a lot of depth there.
And that's a great point, Sellena. I think one of the reasons why we designed it that way, to be open to Witchcraft 3, the pattern basically is you can take level 1 in the society if you're a Witchcraft 3 graduate. And these requirements are because the basic foundational experiences are necessary. And then for the second level in the society, you have to be a Witchcraft 4 graduate. And then for the third level of the society, you have to be a Witchcraft 5 graduate. And the way we sort of did that is because sometimes people we found, particularly online and the way the world has been in the last few years, people need sort of a break from the pace of the homework. Not that I don't think that's important. And some people aren't meant to go on. Some people want to stay in the temple, but they don't necessarily want to take Witchcraft 4, or maybe we don't think they're ready to take Witchcraft 4 yet. So the society gives them a place to kind of explore and work with that, if they so want. So we've got lots of other classes that people can take in between the degrees to kind of still be a part of it. But the society is that added layer to it. But you definitely need the context of the level that's required. I've had a lot of people say, well, I'm not a member of the temple. Can I just jump into these classes? And I'm willing to have a conversation, but usually the answer is no, because I need to know that you know these practices that are foundational, and I need to know ethically that you'll be safe in these practices. because the society is very different. If you're in the mystery school and you're used to the kind of standards we have in the mystery school of homework every month and getting feedback and multiple people kind of evaluating and giving you information, at least in the online school, the society is not like that. There's basically homework every month, and you're under your best behavior to do it or not do it, and do it to the best of your ability. And there's not a lot to pass in. If you want to share, you can share, and I love that. And you don't have to share if you don't want to. And the graduation ritual for all of them is you have to write your own graduation ritual. So there's definitely a creative component to it. And we've had a lot of people not finish their society levels because they've not finished the last part of it. So you have to kind of bring it together for yourself. So that's really the challenge in each of these, is what did you get out of this? And whether it's simple or complex, how did you kind of cohesively bring the end of the year together for you? So we give that opportunity, but I agree with you in the sense that it was originally designed when I first created it to be after Witchcraft 5. But, as the community's grown, we realized not everybody wants to go on to Witchcraft 5. So we've opened it up in some other ways and had some good experiences with it.